So as you can see, the first step, of course, is to remove your valve cover, get access to your rocker arms. From here, hook up your bump button. Now if you don't have one of these, highly recommend investing in them. Cheap, inexpensive, and they make jobs just like this super easy. Get out your feeler gauges, and for this project, the intake will be set at 16 thousandths and the exhaust will be set at 18 thousandths. You also need some sort of wrench. For me, I need a 1/2 inch wrench to unlock or loosen up the jam nut, as well as I need a 5/32 Allen in order to set the valve lash. So let's bump him. Well, first, make sure for this process you need to remember the term E.O.I.C, which stands for exhaust opening, intake closing. So to adjust your intake valve, you need to make sure the exhaust valve is opening, and when you want to adjust your exhaust valve, the intake has to be closing. So let's bump them and get them set. Alright, as you can see, exhaust valve is now about halfway down. That's the perfect spot to get it to adjust your intake valve. So now I can get the feeler gauge out and see where the intake is. Alright, so this is kind of where your personal preference comes into play. You know, some people like to get them kind of tight, some people like to leave them a little loose. Completely up to you. I personally like just a little bit of resistance, and that's exactly where this intake is. So I'm not going to touch it, and I'm going to go right to the exhaust valve now. Almost. Oh, there it is. So with the intake now coming up, it's starting to close the valve, and that's the perfect opportunity to adjust your exhaust. This one's a little too much resistance for my liking, so I'll get the wrench, loosen up the jam nut, and then use the Allen to reset it. So get it exactly where I like. And I like to start the jam nut by hand first, and then just simply tighten it up. Double check your work. Yeah. So that's a lot better. That's where I'd prefer it. So from here, number 1 cylinder is now complete. I have 7 more sets to do, and I will be ready for race day.